Beneath the Pacific, sonar scans reveal structures that shouldn't exist: perfectly straight walls, impossible angles, and a symmetry that nature doesn't make. For decades, we called them natural formations. But what if the accepted explanation is the real anomaly? In the next 20 minutes, we'll dive into the ocean floor's most controversial mysteries and the ancient alien theory that refuses to sink. You've been told that the deep sea is a barren, empty plain, that nothing of consequence lies beneath the waves. But the more we map our own planet, the more we find shapes that look designed. Rectangular platforms, stair-like terraces, corridors that run in dead straight lines for hundreds of meters. Geologists say these are just the result of natural fractures and erosion. Yet some of these structures appear too regular, too purposeful, and they sit in places where no known human civilization ever built. So who or what could have made them? That is the mystery at the heart of our journey. The ocean floor is the last unread chapter of Earth's history, and some pages don't match the official timeline. We'll explore the most compelling anomalies, from Japan's Yonaguni Monument to the Baltic Sea's strange disk, and we'll separate the facts from the theories. Because the deeper we go, the more the questions multiply. To understand why these structures remain a mystery, we first have to understand the world we're diving into. The ocean floor is the largest, least explored surface on Earth. More than 70% of our planet is covered by water, yet according to recent estimates, less than a quarter of the seafloor has been mapped in high resolution. Think about that. We have better topographic maps of Mars and the Moon than we do of our own planet. The reasons are simple, and they're harsh. The deep ocean is hostile. Pressure increases by 1 atmosphere every 10 meters, which means at depths of 4,000 meters, the crushing force would instantly destroy any unprotected human. No light reaches below 200 meters. Temperatures hover just above freezing. And above all, there is the distance. Sending a vehicle down takes specialized engineering, enormous funding, and months of planning. It is no wonder that our attention has stayed, for centuries, on the surface. But this is exactly why the ocean floor remains a place where possibility lives. When sonar picks up straight edges, repeating angles, or symmetry in a location where no human was supposed to have gone, we cannot simply swim down and look. We have to wait, we have to debate, and we have to wonder. Here, the official story starts to show cracks. Anomalies are easy to dismiss when the only evidence is a blurry scan from a research vessel. But mapping technology is improving. Autonomous vehicles are going deeper, and with every new image, the questions add up. If we have not truly explored our own planet, what else could be hiding beneath the waves? That question brings us to one of the most famous and most debated underwater sites on Earth. It lies off the coast of Yonaguni, the westernmost inhabited island of Japan. There, just a few dozen meters beneath the surface, divers have found something that looks like it belongs on land. Massive stone terraces, sharp steps, and perfectly straight edges that stretch across the seafloor. Some call it a natural rock formation, others call it a lost city, and a few have gone further, suggesting that its design might not be human at all. The structure is known as the Yonaguni Monument, and it has split the scientific community for decades. The first thing you notice in photographs is the geometry. This is not a random pile of boulders. There are flat platforms, right angles, and what appear to be carved channels running between the blocks. The overall shape resembles a stepped pyramid, rising from the sand like a forgotten temple. If you saw this on land, you would have no trouble believing it was built by an ancient civilization. But it's underwater, and that changes everything. Geologists who have studied the site, like Robert Schoch of Boston University, argue that the monument is a natural formation. They point to the type of sandstone, which fractures along plains and can create sharp, stair-like shapes through erosion. According to this view, the ocean currents over thousands of years sculpted the rock into something that looks artificial, is actually just a coincidence of geology. It's a plausible explanation, and it's the one most scientists accept. But then there are the details that don't fit so neatly. Some of the blocks appear to be arranged in a way that suggests deliberate placement, not just erosion. There are what look like drainage channels, and even a feature that some interpret as a road or a ramp. The monument is not just a single shape, it's a complex of structures covering a large area, and it's not alone. Nearby, divers have found other formations that seem to echo the same style. This has led some researchers to propose that the Yonaguni Monument is not natural at all. it was either built entirely by human hands or at least modified and shaped by an ancient culture. If that's true, it would mean that a civilization existed in this part of the Pacific long before the known history of Japan. And that raises a bigger question. What else might be waiting beneath the waves? The ancient alien theory enters here, but it's important to be clear about what that means. No one has found a piece of alien technology at Yonaguni. There is no inscription, no artifact, no definitive proof of extraterrestrial involvement. What the theory suggests is that the monument's precision, if it is artificial, implies a level of engineering that the people of the time, according to mainstream archaeology, should not have possessed. And so, the argument goes, maybe they didn't build it alone. Maybe they had help, or maybe the civilization that built it was more advanced than we give them credit for. Neither idea is proven, but the mystery remains. The Yonaguni Monument is one of the few underwater sites where the official explanation and the alternative theories are still actively debated. The rocks are real, the geometry is real. What they mean is still an open question, and that's exactly why it belongs in this story. If the ocean floor is the last unread chapter of Earth's history, Yonaguni is one of its most puzzling pages. But the Pacific isn't the only ocean hiding something strange. In 2011, a Swedish salvage team hunting for shipwrecks in the Gulf of Bothnia, between Sweden and Finland, made a discovery that would spark one of the most heated debates in underwater exploration. Their sonar picked up a massive, circular object resting nearly 300 feet below the surface. It was almost 200 feet across, with a shape that seemed too regular to be natural. The team named it the Baltic Sea Anomaly, and they released sonar images that showed something remarkable. Straight lines, sharp angles, and what looked like a staircase leading up one side. In the murky grey of the sonar screen, it looked less like a rock and more like a structure, something built, not formed. The internet exploded. Speculation ran wild. Some said it was a crashed UFO, its hull buried in the seabed for millennia. Others claimed it was an ancient monument, built by a lost civilization that predated the Ice Age. The salvage team themselves were cautious, but they admitted that the object was unlike anything they had seen in years of scanning the seafloor. They even reported that their electronic equipment malfunctioned when they got close, which only added fuel to the fire. But what did the scientists say? When geologists and oceanographers finally weighed in, their explanation was far more mundane. They argued that the Baltic Sea Anomaly is almost certainly a glacial deposit, a piece of rock carried, shaped by the massive ice sheets that once covered northern Europe, then dropped onto the seafloor when the ice retreated. The straight lines and angles, they said, are the result of natural fracturing and erosion, not intelligent design. The staircase-like feature could be a series of joint planes in the rock, exposed over thousands of years. They pointed out that the Baltic Sea is a geologically young region and that similar formations have been found elsewhere, both on land and underwater. Still, their explanation didn't satisfy everyone. For one thing, no physical samples have ever been conclusively analyzed. The team that found the anomaly returned to the site, but they were unable to retrieve a definitive piece of the object for testing. Without hard evidence, the mystery remains open. And here's where the ancient alien theory enters the picture. Proponents argue that the Baltic Sea Anomaly is exactly the kind of out-of-place artifact that suggests extraterrestrial involvement in Earth's distant past. They point to its geometric regularity, its location in a region that was once covered by ice, the fact that our accepted geological explanations seem to require a lot of coincidence. But mainstream science rejects this interpretation. There is no evidence of alien technology, no sign of artificial construction, and no reason to believe the object is anything other than a natural formation. Yet the question lingers. Why does it look so deliberately structured? Why does the sonar image seem to show a staircase when nature is supposed to be random? The Baltic Sea Anomaly is a perfect example of why the ocean floor fascinates us. It's a place where the unknown still has room to breathe, where a single sonar image can spark a global debate, where the line between fact and theory blurs. For now, the anomaly remains what it has always been, a mystery, waiting for a definitive answer. From the cold depths of the Baltic, we travel to the warm, shallow waters of the Bahamas, and here the pattern repeats. In 1968, divers near North Bimini encountered something strange, a formation of flat, rectangular stones arranged in a line along the seafloor. If someone had laid a road on the ocean bed, they called it the Bimini Road. Immediately, the discovery attracted theories of a lost civilization. Some said Atlantis, others saw evidence of ancient visitors from the stars, but geologists offered a quieter explanation. Beach rock, a natural process where sand and shells harden into layers that can crack into regular-looking blocks. For many scientists, the case was closed. Yet others point out that the stones appear stacked in ways nature rarely arranges on its own, and so the debate has never quite disappeared. A few hundred kilometers away, the mystery becomes even stranger. In 2001, a Canadian company studying the ocean floor off the coast of Cuba reported something remarkable on sonar. Large, symmetrical shapes at a depth of more than 2,000 feet. The images appeared to show rectangular blocks, possible roads, and even what some called pyramids. The news triggered worldwide excitement. Could this be an underwater city, a civilization swallowed by the sea? Some researchers involved in the survey argued that the formations had a structure natural processes could not easily explain. Others remained deeply skeptical, noting that sonar images are notoriously easy to misread. To this day, no clear underwater expedition has fully settled the question. The Cuban site remains a mystery on hold, a story told mostly through screens, not samples. For an example of what accepted underwater ruins actually look like, we go to India. Off the coast of Mahabalipuram, near Chennai, local legend speaks of 7 temples, 6 swallowed by the ocean. For centuries, that story was treated as myth. Then, after the 2004 tsunami, the sea pulled back in a terrifying moment, and there, exposed on the shore, were the remains of structures no one alive had ever seen. Underwater surveys later documented submerged walls, steps, and stone platforms. Archaeologists generally place these ruins within the historical period of the region. This is accepted as a real, human-made site. No extraterrestrial explanation is needed here. And yet, the same ocean that preserved this site has likely hidden countless others. So what do these places really tell us? The lesson is less about aliens and more about humility. The ocean floor is not empty. It is a graveyard of shifting sea levels, of cities built on land that now lies beneath the waves. Some underwater formations are clearly natural, some are clearly human, but the line between the two can be astonishingly difficult to see from a sonar screen. When we encounter a shape that mirrors our own architecture, it is easy to leap to the grandest explanation. One theory claims these sites are scattered clues left by a long-lost advanced civilization, perhaps even visited by beings from the stars. Another says we are simply seeing Earth's geology through pattern-hungry eyes. The truth is, we do not know, not yet, and that uncertainty is exactly why the ancient alien theory refuses to sink. We've now crossed the Pacific, the Baltic, the Bahamas, and the coast of India, and in every location, the same uncomfortable pattern appears. Structures that look engineered, sitting in places where conventional history says no civilization should have been. At its core, the theory argues that intelligent extraterrestrials visited Earth in the distant past and that their presence influenced human development. It has been applied to pyramids, stone circles, and ancient texts. But underwater, it takes on a special power. On land, we can date a wall or a tool. Underwater, we often have nothing but a sonar image and a shape that seems too deliberate to be natural. That absence of evidence creates a gap, and for many, the ancient alien theory fills that gap with a story. These structures were not built by any known human culture. They were built by visitors from another world, or by a lost civilization that inherited their knowledge and their advanced technology. There is a reason this explanation persists. The sites are genuinely puzzling. Yonaguni has steps and terraces that resemble architecture. The Baltic Sea anomaly appears almost disc-shaped in sonar. Bimini Road is made of enormous, neatly arranged stones. Each site on its own might be explained away, but together they create a haunting question. What if we are misreading our own history? Yet honesty matters here. The ancient alien theory is speculation. There is no physical artifact, no extraterrestrial material, no verifiable text proving that visitors from another world shaped these underwater sites. Mainstream archaeologists point to geology, natural fractures, erosion, and in some cases to real human structures that simply date from later than the legends suggest. The theory is not accepted as science, and it may never be unless evidence appears that can survive examination. So why does it persist? Because the ocean floor remains the least explored archive on Earth. Underwater, the difference between a human construction and a natural formation can disappear in a single sonar shadow. That ambiguity is not proof, but it is a doorway. As long as those shapes remain unexplained, the ancient alien theory will keep asking what we have not yet found. Maybe the answer lies in a deeper dive, a better scan, or a site no one has discovered yet. We've reached the edge of what we know, and that is precisely where the next chapter of this story will be written. The ocean floor has already rewritten the way we think about our own past, and it may not be done with us yet. If you want to follow that search as new evidence breaks, consider subscribing, because the next mystery beneath the waves may be the one that changes everything.